We are ready for the first panel session of the day. This will be a session with Heineken and EDF Energy. We're going to split it in two. So first up, we will have Ruth Bromley, who is the Global COE Director at Heineken, who will share a little bit about the journey that Heineken have had. And then we'll bring with her Adam Hubbard from EDF Energy. Ruth, can you come up, please?
Well, welcome to Amsterdam, everyone. Really great to be able to join you here today. If I look at the 10 minutes sort of journey of Heineken, everybody always starts by trying to explain their company name. Hopefully that's something I don't have to do, because we're present in 190 countries around the world. We've 40,000 suppliers. Well, that's what we own up to anyway. That excludes your one-time vendors. It excludes anything you might be getting up to as a supplier without necessarily following the right procedures. But we're the number 2 brewer in the world. And that's set as a huge challenge in terms of how we do what we do. And you can see the facts and figures and the numbers on the company on the slide. But for me, the little tree on the right-hand side was a bit of an aha moment for us when we changed our CEO and CFO just coming up 3 years ago now. Right in the middle of COVID, you change your top 2 people and start to transform the organization on its way forward. And you might look at the tree and think, it's about green shoots. I'm a Brit, we've all had the green shoots of politics. But it's about building the growth and prolonging the future of the business. We've had a business here in the heart of Amsterdam now for just short of 160 years. And we've brands running all around the world. But the most interesting point for me when we started to talk about the new strategy for Heineken was actually what sits beneath the tree. And actually, our tree has digital roots. And having been somebody who's worked in that arena within procurement for the last 12 years, it was that moment that suddenly went, yes, we've finally got it. We're moving into the 21st century. And actually, we started as one element of that strategy to say, we want to become the best connected brewer. And actually that was really talking about our digital ambition. It was the first time we actually appointed a member to the board responsible for digital and technology. We hadn't even got one prior to that point in time. And whilst it was really nice to see, as you see on the slide, 4 key things that the digital and technology teams are going to focus on, only the one on the left is about the growth of the business. And the 3 on the right are all about simplifying and digitalizing what we do best. And starting to create what we started to call our digital backbone. And it's been lovely to hear the talk from Eloise, because actually that is exactly the direction we're going in. Really, really good news. Back in 2014, we started simplifying our ERP base, and we patted ourselves on the back because we got from 67 ERPs down to 45. By 2028, we will have one central core to the business that we are refusing to call an ERP. So it really is a journey that is happening today. And that journey for us, in terms of digital backbone, we stuck with our tree mentality. And it's really about, as you start to look about the things that drive the business forward, the roots, the roots underneath and the leaves on the tree that you start to see. You'll recognize the words that are all often used when we're talking about growing the business. But actually, those well-founded roots in terms of having our data right, our analytics in place, one source of the truth, and really strengthening our digital foundations are how we want to move our business and grow the business going forwards. Now, I've been lucky because I've had 25 years within the brewing industry working for Heineken, or formerly Scottish and Newcastle. And I moved into procurement just over a decade ago, just at the point that global procurement, was coming together as the world started to globalize, and at the very, very first moment when we started to use the words digitalize. And it's been a journey. It's been a journey of over a decade since somebody pointed out that having one data source that is the single moment of truth is actually quite key and critical. You might sit there now and think, well, of course, it's obvious. Trust us, it was light years when we started out. If you asked my CPO at the time how many suppliers he had, he found something to talk about that wasn't answering your question. And that was because we hadn't standardized the data. We have a company called IBM. A quick guessing around the audience. How many derivations of spelling IBM can you come up with? Any ideas on number? How many did I have in my system? 15. It's 3 letters. And I had 15 derivations of how to spell IBM. So getting through from that moment through to where we are, you can see from the journey the traditional routing for a procurement organization. Starting to get into standardizing our suite of tools, managed to steer away from the SAP backbone, thankfully, but actually getting tools that people want to use. Because critical to your internal team actually having the appetite to use the tools, that's step one, is those tools have to work for your suppliers in the market. So as we've worked our way through, people kept coming to me, and I love the point about you go to, if you go onto a company website and say, how many times do you need to log in? I can play that game. Because actually, we all start to move into how do we get best of breed, best of both, and all the different acronyms to say, yeah, one size does not fit all. And my team were really, really struggling to explain the value to the business of using all the different tools, and people couldn't get their heads around what do you use for what. We spent 3 very, very valuable hours that I am eternally grateful to my team for in October last year, this time last year. And we spent 3 hours with a cartoonist. With a cartoonist who helped me tell our story through the eyes of a supplier. Because we wanted to paint a vision for where we wanted to go. So as we moved to that very, very slim financial core of the business, with the digital platforms sitting around it on our digital backbone, surrounded again by our app store, imagine the planets all spinning around each other, we really could confuse our suppliers if we sent them the login details for every single one of our platforms along the journey. And that's why for us, we said, we have to have a supplier front door. We have to be able to bring suppliers into our business. They have to absolutely be able to work across all of our platforms, but actually we need to help them engage with us. And this is where our supplier experience journey started. And it's actually been able to actually simplify supplier onboarding, start to bring things to life with an ambition that says there will be a day, hopefully not too far away, when a supplier can come into the Heineken environment to work with us, to sell us goods, to innovate alongside us. Yes, absolutely, to give us their sustainability data, and work with us as we move forward and grow as a business, as one of our partners. But they'll be able to do it in a simple way with one front door that can then lead them right the way through our procurement journey. And it has been a journey. We're absolutely not there yet. We say ambition 2025, the same as our evergreen ambition of starting to have the green shoots with the digital roots. But a global company takes time to change. It takes time to onboard. And yeah, you still have to deal with those 40 plus ERP systems today. But the world is moving faster than any of us can ever imagine. I'm not going to walk you through every step of the cartoon, but it's been one of the most interactive ways we've found to engage with our business stakeholders, with our suppliers, and even with our customers. Because actually people start to realize, actually the key behind a cartoon is simplicity. We all grew up in our childhood days watching cartoons. Therefore, they are at that simplest point of easy to understand. And if I look back at the journey that we've been on so far, and absolutely a long road yet to travel, people always say, you had your time again? What have you learned? What would you do differently? So I think for me, we had along our journey 3 absolutely clear learnings. Speed. My husband tells me I'm not patient. He's right. But nothing in digital transformation will ever go as fast as you want it to do. And it certainly doesn't when you're working in a global company across 190 different countries. If you look at standardization, it's critical. Imagine if you're still trying to deal with the 15 variants of IBM. Who do you send anything to? How do you make sure that you've got the right information coming through? And last but not least, it's all about simplicity. How do you keep the story simple? How do you keep the ways of working simple? But also, how do you make all your connections as easy as possible for people? If we can see a shortcut to get from A to B, we'll all take it. You might get done for jaywalking in certain countries, but most of the time we'll always take that shortest route. It's human nature. So how do we help all of our suppliers and customers interact with us in the fastest, shortest, most standardized route that makes their life easy? Because that helps me become their customer of choice. So hopefully that shared a little bit of our journey.